got to hit the start streaming button as well. On there, okay.
Oh, it started.
Ah, we start the stream. Hello! Hang on, a bit of confusion this week. Time crept up on us. Arnie's out, and we had Leon jumped in. I'm not sure the microphone's working.
Should be.
Hopefully, check that. We'll give everyone a chance to catch up, because it hasn't appeared on the screen, on the channel. We got loads of good stuff this week, so let's see if it's turned up.
Oh, now it says.
Has it appeared now?
Yep.
Alright, let's do a quick check. Ah, people are starting to log in now, thank you. Sorry about that, it should have come up a while ago. Not really sure why it didn't show up. It all seems very quiet. Are we okay? Oh, I know why it's all quiet. We haven't had the music yet, have we? Alright, evening all right. People are saying hello. Oh, good, good, good. That's relief. Yes.
I don't have history on this one.
What?
BritainsHiddenHistory Google is not sending on this one, so I can't really do anything.
Alright, we got people logging on. Well, no, just go to... You need to log into YouTube and watch into the channel. Ask Mum if you like. Right, hello, evening all. Right then. We have got Zavi sitting in this evening and Leon on production. So, Zav, I'm going to whiz the camera around now. Hang on, it seems to be on a real lag thing. Hang on. I don't think I can change the settings now, can I? Ultra low? No, it should be okay. Right, hello, Meg. Hello, Patrick. Gavin. Excellent. Mark Austin. Oh, it's all starting to work now. You're going to have to ask Mummy. You don't have Mummy to do that? Sorry, it's all a bit rushed. We suddenly had this... you have to having to refresh. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't come up this evening. I've sort of thrown Leon in a bit because I was just relaxing, enjoying my Sunday, and suddenly it was like 10 to 8. Right, do you want to play us in then, Zav? We can't see you hiding over there, that's the only problem. Hang on 1 second, let's have some music. Go, Zavi! Hey, there we go. You're going to have some theme music. What's that called, Zev?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, that's... There, I should have meant to ask everyone. That's the Pirates of the Caribbean. Right, Fire and Soul. Hello, Beth Ann. Hello. Yes, we're going to have to get you on for next week. Bethan, I'm going to tell the world now. You tell me a secret, I tell the world. Bethan had false nails put on and now can't play a guitar. So as soon as that opens up, get those nails off, and then we can have a go. We're going to do an online duet. Well, it would have been a trio, but no one wants me singing, so it'll just be Arnie and Bethan, the professionals. And then we'll crack on with that. So, hello. Offers Canals our trade routes. Yes, I hope everyone saw that video during the week where we had a three-way chat where it was Robert Langdon, who I hope's tuning in, and we had good old Bob Morgan, who's a regular on this. I did, the regret is strong. Is that the glue is strong, the glue holding the nails on? Is that what's strong, or missing this week? Anyway, as it turns out, Arnie went out and he hasn't come back in time, so there we go. So we could have done the duet anyway. It could have been just you, Beth, and just you this week. Big chance missed. So, yes, I hope you watched the video during the week. We had where Robert Langdon has put up a theory that the dikes you see around the country... Yeah, please hit like, thank you. Helps search engines. See if we can grow this. And then... so all these dikes you see around the country, like Offers Dyke and Wensbury Dyke, I always get the names wrong on that one. I'm going to go there in a few weeks, so I'll know it better then. They actually were water trade routes, so people could drag their boats along. And then Bob had some questions, some observations, and it was good. And thank you, Kate. Share the videos. Yeah, thank you. It's very interesting. One of the problems was about how do you get water go uphill and the volumes of water. Well, of course, it turns out that Robert had thought all this through, but the canals are a bit different to what we think of today with those great big Grand Union Canal type things. You only need a couple of inches of water, or even less, almost like slimy mud to drag things along. Very interesting, so if you get a chance to watch that, please do so. Right, where's my list? I got a running list tonight. For once, I've done a running list. Shows a lot of use that is. Last week I did a thing about memories. That would have been more useful, wouldn't it? Can you see the pink book? Anyone see the pink book? You got the pink book? If you could pass it over. I've got some rare footage tonight. As you probably never saw the.
There's two of them.
Thank you. The card for tonight's show was a picture of Baron Blackett. So there you go. It was supposed to be on the advert, which didn't work for some reason. So we're going to have a little clip of Baron Blackett rather than Alan Wilson speaking this week. Talking about music. So that'd be interesting. I've got some stuff. We could do a lot in the next couple of weeks about a Battle of Baden, King Arthur, and David Mosley, who I'm sure is watching over in Germany. Might be a bit slow logging in. I'm sure he's there. I was spoiling us. Hardly, but thank you anyway. He's... I'll tell you, David used to be in the armed forces. He was a tank commander. So he's very good at looking at maps and plotting things. And what he's done is he's plotted out... he's been working out from the clues given in the old Welsh records and the Wilson and Blackett books as to exactly what the routes were of the different armed forces when they landed on the coast and headed towards the battle, and the place names and the clues. So that's awesome. Tonight I'm going to show you a sneak preview of the really cool maps he's putting together, and we'll hopefully get that video out during the week. David is the one who knows all his stuff on that one. Alright, so it's going to be up to him really. And he sent me some notes which I can read out tonight. So that'd be good. We'll do some of that. What else we got? Oh yeah, we got some statues and bits and pieces. Right, what I'm going to try and do... do you know today, I don't know, just because it's so light and everything, so I'm used to it getting dark before the show starts. And then I was sitting there reading away, which I'll be showing you later. The main feature later, apart from Baram, of course, is don't switch off in your millions, all right? Millions. In your tens. It's about a very short look at why radiocarbon dating is deeply flawed and doesn't work, basically. It's a lovely theory, and old Libby got his Libby got his Nobel Prize for it back in the 50s. And then you got people like Professor Bailey, and he's doing Chronology, which also doesn't work. And it's an awful thing to say, and it's not just me being like Mr. Radical Awkward person. People don't realise this is not a resolved issue. It goes on and on and on. And I've had another conversation again this week, someone saying, well, it's radiocarbon dated. People think it's the gold standard, and it's not their fault, because it's what everyone thinks until you start looking into it, all right? And then you realise, like, I get this thing usually 3 or 4 times a year, which looks very heavy and dull and academic and boring. It's because it is. It's called Chronology and Catastrophism Review. So if you're really into this kind of stuff, it's just pages and pages of not very exciting produced stuff. And a lot of it is about dating, alright? Chronology and stuff. Alright, hello Tara! Hello, good to see you, good to see you. Kat as well. William all the way from America. Thank you very much. Jordan's reading St. Patrick book. Ah, brilliant, your mum got it for you. Ruth Jones, excellent. Right, so I'm not going to read all these tables and all this boring stuff, but I'm going to show something about it. And also, if you don't know, Chronology is looking at... Al Graham's there as well, excellent. At tree rings and working out dates on that. Again, another lovely theory. It doesn't work, all right? Publications like this, all they discuss is how can we get the things to work and why do they disagree. And any time someone says to you, hey, an expert said this or whatever, get some journals or sign up for some anything scientific journal, and you find the experts don't agree on very few things. And this one, right, any news about the Chronoglyphics program? Good point. No, I haven't heard anything back on that one, including expenses, so I chase that one up. Hello, Gary. Gary, you need to send me an email or something, because I think you're the one who won the sword 2 weeks ago. I need to send it to you or deliver it or something. I need to get it out, all right? And then we're going to have another raffle starting next week, I think. So thank you for that. That went really well. So there's loads of good stuff there. Right, I'm going to try something. I did start putting a PowerPoint. Do I need to have the PowerPoint on? I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and do it without, because I've got another way of doing things. And what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to wait to see if it's on the screen, which I would do. Just busted Leon watching a Fortnite video. Right, you can see the screen. I picked up this idea off Andrew Johnson. It's a lot easier, really. Just open the pages on a browser and then click, click, click. 2 different links. The only problem is, right, Leon, I need to be able to see some comments here. Because if I do this, I can't see what anybody's saying to me. And I like to make it interactive. So please, yeah, a few weeks ago I made a plea for lots of questions. And people did send loads. Totally different to what I expected. But thank you. Please send more questions about anything. About, well, preferably about history, but you know what I mean. Or hieroglyphics. Just any old questions would be great. Oh yeah, and a special welcome to all those people. Welcome back everyone, our regulars. Great Sunday evening, get together, learn some stuff, explore some ideas, discuss it, and have a chat online, alright? This is part of the fun of it. So if you are new to this, nothing too deep or too heavy. Mostly it's getting snippets of ideas for you to have a think about things about history which might not be as it seems. A lot of which, like this dating I'm going to do tonight, I wonder how many clicks we get if I put up a thing saying tonight is why dating doesn't work. Something like that. Or myths about dating. I tried that as clickbait a while ago, dating myths, but no one really went for it. But so if you are new to this, try and do is look at a lot of history. What we normally do is mostly history that used to be taught in schools in Britain. It all got changed around about the 1700s when the Hanoverians came in and finally got pushed off the Welsh syllabuses as recently as the 1920s. And I have got lots of textbooks from early 20th century where you can see that they were still teaching things like King Arthur and migrations from Troy, all this kind of stuff. So if you're into those kind of subjects or you like to find out more about them, you come to the right places. Loads of videos, loads of things to chat about. Oops, I've gone straight on to carbon dating. That's going to come later. Right, here is one. Great story. I love these headlines that come up. Thank you during the week. That's why I'm with the presentation. I've got to remember who shared everything now. I'm like, this is where I'm going to get backfired. Yeah, this is John Coyne, I think. Thank you, John. And it's one of my bugbears, as you know. Something gets found, and then immediately it's all Roman, all right? So we got another one here has come up. This is a new one from last week. What? I beg your pardon? Oh, David, hello. Hello, David. Hello, buddy. Right, so here's a story from last week. So thank you. Please keep sending me stories. You can send me an email, and I've had some great emails this week, and I meant to put more up. I've got a couple up. And also people on the Facebook group. If you're not already a member, Britain's Hidden History Facebook group. Loads of fun chat and stuff going on there, okay? The carbon dating stuff was exposed a long time ago. Yeah, there's a geologist. Leon, you just took the comments off. Uh-oh, producers having fun here. Alright, what we got here? There's a geologist from Australia who lectures on this, specifically in relation to rubbishing the whole evolution theory. Yeah, there's two sides to, you're absolutely right, there's two sides to radiocarbon dating. There's the sort of the long dating, which generally isn't done with carbon, by the way, so other isotopes of other elements, where they look at why dinosaurs aren't 65 million years old, all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at the more recent side of it, more in the human, how old are Egypt, or even stuff that's found in Britain. What? Stats for Nerds. All right. The Stats for Nerds coming up. Anyway, trying to do a show here, Leon. He's good. He's enjoyed it. It's good to see a happy face on a happy day with the sun out. And everything good in the world. Right, so anyway, so we'll start off, just run through a few articles. Again, because this one becomes double interesting, because what we have here are some Roman treasures discovered by amateur metal detectorists. Again, I don't know why metal detecting gets such a bad press and gets banned and all that kind of stuff. It's crucial. Now this one is there's a few things about this I find strange. So I just read some of the headlines. This is my news audition now, okay? Amateur metal detectorists James Spark, 40, and Mark Didlick, 44, found the 2,000-year-old collection, which is believed to have been buried as part of a Roman religious ceremony in AD 160. They say it's Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who was a character in the film Gladiator. There you go. That's what you need to do, see? Bring people in. I just put the wrong book back now. Hang on. Oh, sorry. Right, now, he could be Marcus Aurelius, as someone pointed out, or John, I think he was, John Coyne. It probably looks more like Severus, actually. And then the interesting thing, of course, is that both of these characters, Marcus Aurelius, let's get his Welsh name out. Glass is gone. And Severus, it was easy because his Welsh name's Severus, were both British-born, British families, British kings, effectively, but they get treated as Roman emperors because, as you probably know already, everything has to be Roman. Well, that's the T-shirt I should get, isn't it? Everything's got to be Roman. Right. Okay. So I just want to go on about that one because the point that came up on the discussion was the style as well. Because if you look at the artistic style of this and compare it with most of the Roman things, you see, Roman goods tend to be, they're presented to us as a form of realism. You know, you could just look at death masks and a real likeness of the face, where this is very much stylized, which, you know, could be more of a Greek thing, according to John and the people commenting on their Facebook group, or it could just be British, and it could be a different style completely. So that's the kind of thing you're looking at and talking about. So it's a very short article there. Oh, you know, the horse is crucial as well now, because one of the things about the horse is a sacred animal of Britain. I want to mention this a few times. So you've got like the big horses on the hills, I think it's Effingham. I can't see the comments, Leon. And places like that, where we've done the drone footage before. Hang on a second, what have we got here? All right. Greek-inspired Romans. Yeah, well, it could just be British, isn't it? But anyway, the horse is sacred. I've mentioned this to a couple of people lately, is that if you think about the horse is our sacred animal in Britain, and it's something that also gets forgotten. I'm going to tie this in with a couple of recent events. We've got Graham there, Tara there, so we'll tie in with them as well, because it's... I wasn't sure I was going to mention this, but then the horse came up again, and it's almost like somebody's trying to tell me to let this out, so we're going to. Now, if you look, for example, the rest of Europe, they all eat horse meat, all right? Don't have a problem with it. It's a bit of a delicacy in France, and all this kind of... Whereas in Britain, you wouldn't dream of eating a horse. It's like a cow would be to a Hindu in India. And this is interesting, because why is it that all of Europe would eat horses, and then suddenly there's this magic dividing line in Britain where they don't? So why is it the horse is special here? And when does this change come? If we'd just been these Celtic barbarians wandering over from Europe, then they would have the same, presumably, cultural ideas. Right, okay. Whereas if you follow back to the Trojan Wars, where the British records say the migration took place from, then you get back to Hector, and he was known as the horse, the lover of horses. What's happening here?
You told me to point somewhere.
No, that's okay, thank you.
Okay.
He's a lover of horses. The flag of Troy was supposed to be the horse. And overall, there's a strong connection with horses. And then we got the white horse on the mountain in England. And it's supposed to be a red horse near me in Wales. And want to try and track that down. I think it's near St. Kenneth. So hopefully we can over there soon to have a look. So anyway, so you've got these horses here, which again would imply British perhaps. And I'll tell you another interesting story I read this week. I always try and give references. I think it was... Yes, the book I was going to show a little bit of. Anyway, it's the early Church of the Cymry. And it's going back to the origins of Christianity and this kind of thing. The book was written about 1908. And there's a fascinating little comment in there, which I hadn't thought of before. And I'd be surprised if anyone else has. Let's give the rest of this story. All right, we'll just scroll down in a second. There's a bit more. And that was this idea that if you notice there's no chariots in the Roman army. Not that we're aware of. Not apart from maybe driving generals around and stuff. And Caesar, if you look at his, oh, come on, Ross, wake up today. His Celtic Wars, whatever he calls it, the Gallic Wars, Bellus Gallic, right? Is that he talks there about the chariots, the British chariots and everything. And it mentions in this book, which is about 1910, that, and I hadn't seen it, so please comment if you've seen this somewhere, that the Romans were fascinated by the British chariots, and that's why they started driving them back in Rome. Now there's a weird one for you. So they actually saw the British chariots and thought, oh, they're pretty cool, and started the generals getting them as, I don't know, maybe they learnt about them in Britain, maybe they took some back with them, as maybe they bought them, in a chariot dealership, one careful owner, all that kind of stuff. So there was an interesting idea, which over 100 years old. And what was fascinating reading that book, if you read old, I cannot recommend high enough reading old textbooks, because even if you don't read them all the way through, for one, you realise how little content there is in modern textbooks. And the other one, of course, is then you see stuff which is now considered way out there, heretical, weird stuff, like Wilson and Blackett stuff, which is, oh my God, where have they dreamt all this up from? It's all in these old books. It's not come from outer space, It's there's the genius of Wilson and Blackett in pulling it all together and making one big story and bringing it forwards, and some new revelations. But the bulk of it, this is kind of your standard stuff. So this old book actually talks about the Romans liking the chariots and taking them back with them. How about that? So there's I don't know how that works exactly. Right, let's have a look over there. Epona equals... Right, let's look. Oh, right. Have Greek-inspired Romans... right, he's a real crocodile tongue Dundee. What's coming on here? Right, okay. John... Right, sorry, there's too much conversation there. Right, setup, your new setup. I love the way, just, don't worry about the show or anything, just have a chat. Yeah, go on, Leon, carry on, yeah. Alright, she's got a split screen so we can watch this thing in the bottom corner. That's great, isn't it? You should be hanging on my every word here, son, yeah? Yeah, I was listening. Alright, just nothing much to watch. There isn't much to watch, is it, in fairness, right? Okay. Wow, look at this. Marcus Aurelius became emperor in AD 161. His 19-year reign was one of relative peace and prosperity for Rome. Doubt he even went to Rome. But anyway, in 165, troops returning from Mesopotamia brought with them a virus which swept across the entire empire, the Antonine Plague. There we are, it's an interesting one for everyone. Okay, right, now this is a little bit more recent. This isn't normally what we do, okay? It's just, this is cropped up as something again this week, because there was a bizarre thread on Facebook, and someone was talking about castles and things like that. So he was trying to say that castles were kind of invented in France in the 12th century. Oh, make sure you plug it in then. And that castles didn't really exist before then, which is bizarre, I'm trying to explain that these castles, one of the situations you get when you come to South Wales, you look at some of the castles, you'll see some weird signage. I'm going to photograph this next time. We'll read how the Normans, they didn't come to Wales till 1091. By the way, this isn't just about Wales, but England and Scotland as well, and everywhere else, Ireland. So when they came in 1091, how they tricked their way into the Welsh castles, like Cardiff and the ones along the south coast. Because they originally were acting as allies in an internal war. Hang on, let's look at me a second. The Recep Tudor, and they were battling it out, and one side decided to bring in some Norman mercenaries to help him win this war. And they won the war, and everyone went great, sent the troops home. The Normans were supposed to sail off round the corner and then sneak back the next day and took the castles. A bit like Troy, funny enough, isn't it? But one of these castles down West Wales has got a sign saying, on the one hand, the Normans actually physically attacked that castle and took it in 1091, and also how the Normans built the castle. So work that one out. So you've got two lots of Normans. You've got one lot building it while the other lot's attacking it. So somehow the castle massively predates the Normans, but it's still a Norman castle. It's things like this you're up against all the time. And one of the arguments he put up was to say, of course it's the first, it's just like just like Stephenson's rocket, the first steam engine, only not as famous. So of course I couldn't resist sticking this down. They've got the Penydarren locomotive, it's a small one, just to give you an idea of how history gets hidden. It's a more recent example that everyone might be familiar with. If anyone says, what's his first steam locomotive to run on rails or anything like that, everyone says Robert Louis Stevenson, not Robert Louis Stevenson. That's because we're reading Kidnapped at the moment. The other Stevenson, the one who invented the rocket. All right. Well, the first journey of the rocket, I think, was 1820, 1821, whereas this did a journey with cargo and passengers in 1804. So it's almost 20 years. It's not even close. All right. So I recommend just do a little search on Richard Trevithick, who's from Cornwall. There we are. At first, Richard didn't prove to be the brightest lamp on the street. He's disobedient, obstinate, and slow. But there we are. Then he became an engineer, and he did all these kind of inventions. Colebrookdale locomotive, which is the first portable engine to run on rails, 1802. So that's even earlier. The first train was 1804, the Penydarren locomotive. Now, I've shown this example because it's more recent than we normally go to, okay? Is there more about this? There was Merthyr Tramway. This I want to show. There's the map. And you can still, you can't see much of it really. But this is Merthyr area. And this train had to bring coal, so many tons of coal, and loads of people jumped on board as well. All the way down to Abercynon, which is known as navigation back in those days. And you can still see, finally, I want to bring another point up here for those who aren't aware of it. That there's no recognition of this at all. So this is a good example of Britain's hidden history, where it's there, all right? If you search, go to Wikipedia, Google, anything you like, you will find Richard Trevithick. You will find the Penydarren Railroad. You can even see some physical markers which weren't there, but it's hidden. It's not lost, all right? It's still there. It's hidden. What I feel very strongly about what we're trying to do is the best way to stop things being hidden is to shine light on them and for more people to become aware of them. There's less point in hiding something if loads of people know it exists. And I'm hoping I'm making sense there. So there's a good example here. And something I'm very proud of, because my parents sadly passed away last year, both of them, which is obviously thank you for a lot of help and support from the group throughout tough time. And do you realize all through that period, they were very straight, all right? They weren't at all radicals. My dad was RAF and then a teacher, so he's very mainstream. Always polished his shoes, wore a tie, that kind of person. And my mother, similar sort of life, very conventional. Forces family, went through the main thing. Her dad was in the Navy 40 years and then ended up becoming a lecturer. Okay, so it's very non-rebellious, if you like. But one thing they did do, which I'm always very proud of, was they started a protest, or a campaign, if you like, to get some recognition. Not just them, there's other people from Abercynon, to get some sort of plaque or something, just to say this is the world's first railway journey. I mean, it's just bizarre that everyone thinks it's Stephenson's rocket. It's just weird. How can anyone explain this to me? Everyone, if you're a mastermind, you'd have to say Stephenson to get the answer right. This is how it works, whereas it's well recorded. I'll tell you what we'll do, just quickly, so I'm not pulling this out of my butt, as it were. On Sunday evening. I'll try and avoid the bad language this week. Sorry about Mr. Wilson last week. Alright, so here we go. You could even do Penydarren. Darren. Tram road, they call it. So there we go. Trevithick's locomotive. Almost 10 miles, 1802. So there we go. Connecting to the Glamorganshire Canal. Alright, so that's the kind of thing which is just hidden. It's not destroyed, it's not lost. Just people don't know about it, okay? And there's loads and loads and loads of stuff in history, particularly, that is hidden. Okay, so there we go. So, right, let's just go this full screen. On to the next little story, which is... this is the castles again. Which tied in with that last one. Yeah, I wanted to bring... the horses I was talking about. Right, the horses. Now, a video I'm going to try and put up this week is very important, because this was... it turned out to be quite a group of us in the end. There was 8 of us altogether. Went down to Anastinus, and if I been more alert this evening, I would have had the video ready to show you. But I'll show it next week, which might be a good thing anyway. For those not aware, Anasthenes is the Holy Island, and it's where Jesus, or maybe son of Jesus, is said to be buried. Because after the crucifixion, they had to flee the Roman Empire, ended up in Britain. And this is where they ended up. Leon, can you try and... Leon, can you try and bring that a bit nearer so I can see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so just a quick look there. Alright, I think I'm going to have to do without the comments. I'm trying reading it. I went to the LSE, yeah. Train don't carry... Anyways, let's look. Right.
I don't get you off the table.
Okay, I think people are chatting. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm not keeping up very well. I will try and... I want that computer needs to be there, okay? So I can see it. Right. Okay, so... yeah, so we went down there because I want to get some more pictures to finish off the book, which is just about down right. So that's going to be... It is, please. So... one of the things we did down there was to have some people who were very sensitive to energies and that kind of stuff, because there are actually about 6 possible burial sites on the island. Ah, that's much better. Thank you, Leon. I can see the comments now. And then from that, we had people there very sensitive to energies and what's going on, and videoed all this. And they all agreed, and with dowsing as well, 3 independent people, that 4 of the burial sites seem to be non-human, and Graham, who is my mentioning here, well, I know I've asked him already. I wouldn't mention anything without anybody's permission. Was saying that he thought they were horses, which comes into the whole idea then of there being 4 horses buried on the island. I mean, my mind immediately jumps to Revelations and the 4 horses, the apocalypse, all that kind of stuff. There's also a very strong female energy around the island. So that's a complete side thing. And that's going to be coming up, more of that on next week. Which, for those of you who can do the maths, if this is episode 51, that's episode 52. Which is the number of weeks in a year. So that's the first year anniversary show. So we'll try and make that one special. So I think... it won't be so bad to show the videos about the island there anyway next week. And also, I have a special announcement to make that next week, appearing live on the show, all the way from America, an absolute legend of the Wilson and Blackett work and the hidden history, long before I got involved in any way whatsoever. An absolute doyen, a writer, musician, poet, performer, the lot. And the very famous, the one and only Mr. Lee Pennington. And he is going to be on the show live next week. So look forward to that one. And I got some very special videos to show and all round good stuff. So next week, first year anniversary, we'll try and think of some more fun things to make it extra special. If you've got any ideas, send them through, please. Because the last special one, what was it? I can't remember. It was like, why did we do a special one before? There's so many episodes or something. We all put bow ties and all that on, and then the microphones didn't work. So, what were we celebrating?
I think it was the book. Yeah, it was the book Hieroglyphics.
Was it the book coming out?
Yeah, Hieroglyphics first edition, I think.
There we are. No, I don't think Baron swears, which is ironic because he swears all the time. The rest of the time, no, he doesn't. He's a very nice, gently spoken person. Right, the horse is the symbol of the sun. Right, do you want to say a bit more about that, Suzanne? Because I didn't know the horse so much was a symbol of the sun. I know it's on the back of coins of Constantine, the horses have the sun behind them. But I always thought that was because the chariot is riding up to the sun where the gods live. Anyway, so I'm always open to learn more about that. Okay, so here's this book I was referred to, Architectures of Castles, a visual guide. I just want to give an example. This is online, it's free. So have a look at it. Published 1984. I thought it was much older. The style of it's very old. But 1984 it says. And I just wanted to show how these discussions go. So castles in history. And it's all about castles. Beautiful book. Lovely pictures. I highly recommend going through it. He's ex-cavalryman. And he talks a lot about horses and cavalry. And then the origins of the castle. It's just wonderful. It just explains, I think the next page then... I did have a quick read through it. And this one says in 1066 and all this, basically history started. Here we go. Old English society on the eve of 1066. Everything just starts in 1066. And it's a classic sort of history book you're going to read. And it's absolutely, I went through the whole book. There are the positive evidence for the introduction of castles into England by the Normans in and after. Can I highlight it? No. The positive evidence for the introduction of castles into England by the Normans in and after 1066 is simply overwhelming. It's just bizarre. It's hard to know what to say, really. When there's as far back as Julius Caesar, he talks about trying to get into London, which is fortified. I mean, that's a castle, really. Then, of course, a hill fort. And I can say, all right, it's a hill fort. It's not the same as a stone-built castle. You know, it's not a castle. But then there's examples like, for example, Cardiff Castle. I'll just show a couple more pictures. Oh, hang on, that's the one I'm going to show as well. There's Cardiff Castle. We've actually got remains of the Roman wall still maintained. Whether it was built by Romans or ancient British, who knows, but it's the original, supposedly 2,000-year-old wall. That doesn't seem to count. This one amused me then, to throw a little bit of Britain's hidden history in while I'm here. Is down the bottom, looks like the Tower of London, which is interesting because he calls it the Conqueror's White Tower, which gives its name to the Tower of London. No, it doesn't. It's the other way around. It was, does anyone out there know on the comments why it's called the White Tower? Maybe you do. I'll give you a clue there. It goes back to a much earlier Welsh name for it, because you have the word Gwyn. Gwyn is in Welsh. One of these dual meaning words can mean white, but it can also mean holy or sacred. So this was the Sacred Hill or the White Hill, and then that became, so it would have been something like Gwyn Ton or something like that, which became then, or Ton Gwyn, and then this became the White Tower. There's been something on that site at least 1,000 years before the Normans showed up. Similarly, if we go to the largest, this is interesting, early castles, like 2 paragraphs, then we're on to Motte and Bailey's. Motte and Bailey castles. Normans. If it's not Roman, it's Norman. There's a fabulous looking castle there. Which one's that? Winchester. Bishops of Winchester. So I'm just jumping forward. Some wonderful pictures. I have to say, it's an amazing book. It's great. I've enjoyed reading it. And I'll put things on for free. Well, I didn't put it up for free. They put it up for free. I'll just put the link up, okay? Different castles. That's Rochester. I was going to say, this is a very famous one. Rochester. There's some films about that siege. Because the idea of this has to be residence as well by a lord. It has to be feudal. All these weird tick boxes to make something a castle. Because I got my old dictionaries out, and that's not the case at all. I might get into darkness here. I think I'm slowly becoming dark. I have to put a light on in a second. Yeah, thank you. Good boy. Yes, please. Anyway, if you go through this book eventually, there's 130 odd pages, so I'll leave you to it yourself. You'll see there is a bit of Cardiff Castle in there, or the keep. And curiously also is Windsor. Because have you looked at Windsor Castle? I did put a video up about this. Oh, it's over a year ago. Where's the time gone? Talking about that is a really ancient sacred site. And that goes right back to E.O. Gordon's book, Prehistoric London. And if you look in there, you can see how the term Windsor, again, this Gwyn is white or holy, and Tor, or the mound, so Windsor, it's the special holy mound. And that was probably a Gorsev, which is a religious meeting point. So this would be a sacred mound. The one in London's a sacred mound. A lot of these places are sacred mounds. So it's a very convenient way of hiding this history by calling them all Motte and Bailey's, because they have a mound. So if you've got 6 minutes to spare or 7 minutes to spare, go and have a look at the video I did a couple of weeks ago. I think most people have seen it, about Ystrad Owen. We've got a great example there of a mound. The church is called Owen. The town is called after Owen. The mound is said to be where the burial site of Owen, but no, it's a Motte and Bailey castle. Just give an example, the kind of things we're up against with all this. Right, okay, hang on. Oh, I got the same one. Oh yeah, this is better pictures of the earlier one. Sorry, the Roman. Right. Okay, now, I want to get on to, what are the comments we got on here? Let's have a look. Oh, right, some interesting stuff about horses. Okay. Yes, flags too. All right, we got some ideas. Can you scroll up the messages there a bit, please, Leon? Comments coming in really quick. Yeah, some ideas for some fun things for next week. Go on, Leon, up you go. Okay, all right, yes. The energy of a human heart can be measured 3 feet round the body, and for a horse 6 feet around. Wow, more stuff about horses than I realised. Hang on. I'll be very, 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 very disappointed if Anthony Baram does not scream, shout and swear. No, it's a very calm. He's talking about music, all right? He's on his best behaviour. Yeah, Lee Pennington, calmest that. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's read Wilson and Blackett books and that, you'll see Lee Pennington appearing throughout all of them. So you want to wait. Right, Jordan says we want drums, tambourines, violin, orchestra, singing. Maybe a suggestion with Arnie, Zavi, Leon and Angie, maybe making a cake. Thank you. So basically anyone can do something musical except me. It's alright, that's okay. And there's Windsor. Oh yeah, John Windsor. That's how John Windsor got in touch with me the first time, was about the video about Windsor Castle. So there we go. Right, so John Windsor, horses. Amelia are primarily left hooved. They race to the left. You mount and dismount on the left. Okay. Ironclad, that was the film I was trying to remember. Thank you, William. Hello, William, all the way from America, yes. Yeah, rubbish film, Ironclad, but the claims and everything on it are terrible. But if you're just interested to see how a siege works, that's a really good one. It's quite a horrible, bloodthirsty film. All right, hang on a second. It can be argued that the Carmarthenshire Tramway is the first public goods line, opened its first stretch in 1803. Okay. Yeah, and I have heard about that one, yes. It all depends. Yeah, they're both almost 20 years earlier than The Rocket. Ironclad was filmed in Clanharan? Really? Wow. I didn't say you could not sing out of tune, Ross. No, it's okay. I'm only teasing. I've emptied many a room by singing. Don't bother me. Oop, is that the timer going? God, it's one of those nights, isn't it? Full of interruptions. Right, one of my favourite subjects now. I'm going to do, I'm trying to keep it short. Oh, okay, Mummy's there. Right. And get through this. I want to talk about, quickly, is this idea of radiocarbon dating, all right? So here's the... Great, my face is now cutting it off. Is there a button I can press, Leon? Does it just go full screen? No? All right. Anyway, I'll just read it quickly. Radiocarbon dating measurements produce ages in radiocarbon years, which must be converted to calendar ages by a process called calibration. Look out for that word, calibration. Calibration means fiddling, all right? It's a scientific term. Calibration is needed because it doesn't work. Oh no, because the atmospheric C14 to C12 ratio, blah, 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 is constantly changed and we don't know, right? So what I'm going to do, I've got a little bit of video here to show you. If you are new, it's only a few minutes long. Here we go. How does it work, all right? I'll be back. 2 minutes. Oh. Hang on, that's all I do. Sorry to interrupt. He didn't get a word out, did he? I've got a video full screen. That's what I want. Right. Come on, intelligent person. Talk to us like an adult.
How do we know how old something is? For people, we'd ask to see their birth certificate. For trees, we'd count the rings. But how do we know how old a fossil is? Fossils have their own internal clock. Scientists can read it by looking at the ratio of 2 different types of carbon atoms. Of course, every living thing is made of carbon. Plants grab carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and use it to form complex organic molecules. Animals get their carbon by eating these plants. But there's more than one form of carbon. Most carbon atoms have 6 protons and 6 neutrons. We call this carbon-12. High up in the atmosphere, sometimes cosmic rays hit nitrogen atoms. This creates carbon with 6 protons and 8 neutrons. We call this carbon-14. Carbon-12 and carbon-14 behave alike, but carbon-14 has one unique and important attribute. It's unstable. So once an animal dies, the carbon-14 in its body will start to go away. Every 5,730 years on average, about half of the carbon-14 atoms will decay into nitrogen. This is its half-life. After one half-life, the animal will have about half the amount of carbon-14 it started with. After another half-life, it will have about a quarter. And after another half-life, it will have about an eighth. By contrast, the amount of carbon-12 it has in its body will stay the same. By measuring the ratio of carbon-14 to carbon-12, we can measure how many thousands of years have passed since the animal died. Carbon dating works for fossils up to about 60,000 years old. For older fossils, scientists use unstable elements that have much longer half-lives. For Scientific American's Instant Egghead, I'm Michael Moyer. Carbon. Plants grab carbon dioxide
No, I can't do that twice. Alright, okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed that. Yeah, you did. Good. That's how school lessons are these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, that's how school lessons work now, apparently. You go to school now, my children tell me
The
they're
video turns more cringy. Like, way more cringy.
way more, even more cringy than that video.
Not too cringy, that video, but like the video.
We didn't think that one was too cringy, no? That wasn't too cringy. Okay, where's that graph gone? That's what I want. Alright, I'm not really going to show it again. Stop. Just get an idea. Right, okay, this was school. By the way, if you don't know, if you haven't got children at school or anything at the moment, what tends to happen these days, whether it's an online lesson or it's a face-to-face lesson, they put a YouTube video on. We joke about University of YouTube. That's how schools are taught these days. They watch a 20-minute video and then they get on with it and do some work. Bizarre. I think teachers are doing themselves out of a job and they really should be careful. I'm not against teachers at all. My parents are teachers. I'm just telling them, if you make it clear that all you have to do is put a YouTube video on, then fill in online multiple choice, then what will the teachers do in there? You as well stay at home, innit? So there you go. Anyway, let's not stay away from modern politics, Ross. To do that. Okay, now what I was hoping to do, are there any of those crisps left from yesterday?
Which ones?
Anyone? You know I bought a big pile of bags of crisps. Does that look like an innocent face? You know all those bags of crisps I bought?
Yeah?
Are there any left?
Well, there's 2 Doritos that you ate, Daddy.
No, there was a couple left in the bottom of the packet. That's different.
Really? In the Doritos?
No, was it Doritos bag? Go find it. Anyway, alright, anyway. I lashed out a lot of money on some very expensive visual aids, almost as good as my friend here with the beard on the screen. Alright? Is it looking good there, him? Now, because they're... I don't make this a big scientific thing, alright? And I want to show Baram as well. And just want to show, if you haven't looked at radiocarbon dating, then why would you, okay? The way I look at it is to think of having a bag of sweets or a bag of crisps. And then so you start off with a bag of sweets. And then the idea is, say you're going to eat half the sweets every hour. So we'll do it nice and easy. You don't get much of your money these days. We've got 32 Maltesers, say, in our bag. First hour, I munch half of them down. Oh, I got 16. Ooh, there's not so many left now. The next hour, I munch 8 down, then 4, then 2, then 1. Alright? So what I do then, I get my bag of Maltesers and look at it and go, how many Maltesers are left? And I say, there's 5. So I go, hang on, 32, 16, 8, 4. So it's somewhere less than 3 half-lives or 4 half-lives. I'm not sure it's going to work with biscuits. I want a bag of, there goes the budget. So you have half. So the principle of it is, what you have to do is blind dating. Yeah. So what you have to try and do then is, you basically carbon dating is you're handed a bag of sweets, and the first job you have to do is count how many sweets are in the bag, and then you try and work it backwards using the half-lives. Now the problems are, it's a great idea, right? And Libby, who I drew a cartoon of, that's falling apart. And I put a separate video up with the cartoons and the graphics and a bag of sweets. The point is that you don't know. The biggest problem is every part of this is a variable. For one, you don't know how many sweets there were in a full bag. And that might sound a bit weird and a bit obvious. You don't. This is one. It depends on so many factors, and even then it's variable. So what they have to do is kind of guess what. Because how do you know? How do you know? You don't have a sample from 5,400 years ago or 11,000 years ago to have a look and measure how much carbon-14 is in it. There's no way of doing that. So you have to sort of estimate going backwards. The other problems you have then is, as you'll see in a second, I'll do a quick summary, the atmosphere at the time affects the amount of carbon-14 when this creature, this giraffe, whatever it was eating the tree, has died. So that makes a difference. Hang on, I should be showing the graph here. Let's just go back to me. And then the rate at which the sweets are being eaten can vary. And then there's even a problem with working out how many sweets are left in the bag. I know it sounds crazy, but we are looking at tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. Like, for example, I'm not trying to hit on controversial subjects at all, but to give an idea, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, currently very controversial, global warming, all that kind of stuff. Do you know what percentage of the atmosphere is actually carbon dioxide? In the controversial area. Anyway, it's about 0.03%. It's a tiny, tiny amount. Now, when you're looking for carbon-14 molecules in an object, it's like millions. It's millions. So when trying to measure carbon dioxide, that's bad enough because you're looking at 3,000th of the air. 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other rare gases, argon, neon, all these kind of stuff. And you got this tiny, tiny, tiny bit of carbon dioxide. It's very much like that. So what I was going to do with my bag of crisps, but the boys have eaten them all, was that instead of not counting whole crisps, you get your bag of crisps, tip out all the big crisps, and there's some tiny little crumbs left in the bottom, and you got to try and get the number of crumbs right. And if you get it wrong by even just one tiny crumb, you're throwing things out by hundreds or even thousands of years. If you go the other way, and this is where these boys are interesting. This is a book I find very interesting, not because I agree with their conclusions, but I hope you can see that. This is History, Fictional Science, New Chronology by Fomenko. It's actually by a whole team of Russian scientists and historians. Well, scientists, really. They're trying to apply science to work out historical dating. This book's all about dating, and there's 7 volumes of it. You've also got the Tartarian stuff and different history and chronologies and all that. But what's most interesting to me about this book, and what I scribble all over, is all about problems with radiocarbon dating. And there's some amazing examples in there, which I have checked and looked up. For example, when you estimate the level of carbon-14 with a sample when it's brand new, so you estimate how many sweets are in a bag of sweets. So say you're going to estimate, what did we say before for our Maltesers? We had 32, wasn't it? So we're going to say it's 32 in a bag. So that's our baseline, 32. So if we find one with 16, we're going to say, yeah, that's one half-life. Should have 32. There's only 16 sweets in the bag, all right? Therefore, it's one half-life, 5,400 and whatever it is, 70 years old. Bag of peanuts, thanks. Right, so what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to do a game, right, okay. You have a game. This is a little bit of a game for next week. I'm going to feel that. I'm going to be a carbon. This is how it's going to work. And I feel this and estimate how many peanuts should be in a full bag. I don't have a full bag. I'm going to tip them all out apart from a tiny bit. And look at the. Anyway, it's gone. The moment's gone. So what you want to do then is. So what happens is you estimate how many carbon-14. This is where it gets really, really fun. Please don't be put off by this being scientific. It gets hilarious. There's some great examples in here. The problem is, what happens then is the graph goes all crazy, you see. So they found one example in here is a mollusk, which was alive. All right? But if we go back to, I'll keep the numbers simple with our bag of Maltesers having 32 sweets in a bag. They found this mollusk. It had like 40-odd sweets in the bag. Its carbon-14 level was higher than it should be 0. So when you put it on a graph, it's minus it's 700 years in the future. This thing, which is alive in your hand, doesn't exist for another 700 years. This is how way out things are. You've got a castle which they're very confident about being built about 700 years ago in England, was dated 7,000 years old. It's just crazy. So the way in which it works, well, I'll tell you, it works in theory and practice, or the way around. What they will do, most results, 90-odd%, will get rejected as being either contaminated or, well, contaminated usually, or something's gone wrong, okay? And they'll just throw them away, just discount them. And what they'll do is just pick those results which seem to be close to what they're expecting to find. So generally, the approach is they get some information about what you're trying to date. There's a great example in here where there's 2 German professors arguing about the date of something, One suggests it's 1,000 years old. The other one suggests it's almost 3,000 years old. They both send a sample for carbon dating, and guess what? They're both right. So it's to say it's imprecise is being very generous. Now Wilson and Blackett, in their books, they wrote that it seems to be a general rule that if something found in Egypt, for example, and they just add 20% to the dates to make it work. All right? And now this is naivety by them in a way, because it's far worse than that. It's far worse than that. And you get a clue to how bad it is, because if you've got this situation, right, you don't know how many bags at the start in your bag of sweets. You don't know what a full bag is. Could be 32, could be 40, could be whatever. All right? You're estimating that. The next thing is you don't know how quickly the sweets are being eaten. Third one is you're not even sure how many are in the bag right now that you're trying to measure. So you can already start to feel how weird it is. The fourth one is even when you get a result, you don't really know how old it is because there's too many variables. So the way in which it's worked, and if you watch it Libby, I think it's on Wikipedia, probably is. If you look at something like Libby or something, the way it works, hang on, I was just checking this working on the screen, is they will find a date they absolutely know and they'll calibrate. So you end up with this curve. The curve should look like that, like this lovely curve. This I want to show this one. It's quite funny. That's what the curve should look like, right? That nice smooth curve. The real curves, when you see them, are bizarre. They go up and back and down and across. Because when you slot in the real dates they do know or think they know, they don't match the curve. So things...
Some paper crisps.
Thanks. Made some... Thank you very much. Oh, that's genius. Oh, there we are, look. Here we go. I've got a bag of... That's brilliant, that is, Leon. Thank you. Paper crisps. Cut in triangles. Are they Doritos, are they? Oh, very good. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to discard those. I'm going to grab my bag of the paper crisps and say how many are left. 2. So somehow now, right? I think it's 2.
Yes, 2.
This, I'm just making a point here, Leon. I think it is 2 as well. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to be angry with a face like that, eh? So I think it's 2, all right? But I don't know how many crisps are in a full bag and all this kind of stuff. We've gone through it all now, but thank you anyway, Leon. Thank you very much for that. So this is the problem. So what they do is they have to find a real date they all agree on and then work it backwards. Now, I'm not going into all the things about that because you can research it yourself. So one of the magazines, like I said, I get is... Oh, don't let me forget David's books. I got it on a separate thing. This is Chronology and Catastrophism. Catastrophism, if you're not aware of it, is... First idea came up with Velikovsky back in the 1950s. And the idea is, instead of things happening very gradually, things stay pretty much the same and you get a jolt. So another dating system is called sedimentary dating, where you look at the layers. Because this is the other thing they try and cross-reference with. They look at how the layers build up. And they say, aha, if this ice, say it's an ice sheet they're measuring in Antarctica or Greenland or something, if this gains 2 millimeters of ice per year and it's 100 meters, therefore it's 10,000 years or whatever, something like that, right? What catastrophism says, and same with caves and things. If 1 millimeter of dust accumulates every year, and we've got 2 meters of dust, therefore 2,000 times whatever, all this kind of stuff. What catastrophism argues is life ain't like that. What will happen is you can have this floor of a cave or something, or a riverbed, or whatever it happens to be, can sit there quite happily, nothing happening for years and years and years and years and years and years, and then suddenly there'll be a storm or a deluge, and then whoosh, you get a great big dollop. So it's not gone millimeter every year, it's gone dollop. All right? And say with ice and things like that, okay, you have a particularly bad year. And of course, this principle is important because then you get onto tree rings. I hope I'm not doing too much for a Sunday evening, not trying to give people too much of a hard time. It's shrouded shearin. That is a whole thing. That is a shrouded shearin and carbon dating. They could be right and the dating was wrong. But anyway, I don't want to get... Yes,
I
Leon.
want to censor yourself a bit more.
Sent to myself. I was trying to get you on, Leon. That's what it was when you were commenting. You were like a co-presenter there. So, well, thank you anyway. Yes. Right. So, I completely throw myself now. Oh, yeah. Because things like tree rings, all right, which we get back to our friend, Professor Michael Bailey, who's over in Trinity College or Belfast University, who's the one who's in communication with Wilson and Blackett. It does all tie in, because Wilson and Blackett were very much involved in this, you see. For a couple of reasons. One was he's an expert in what's called dendrochronology. Right, it's a fancy word for telling time with tree rings. So what the idea is, I'm sure you've seen. I did have some lovely pictures lined up. All right, let's just keep going. The story is that every year trees produce rings of different thicknesses. And you could tell a good year, a nice thick ring, a bad year, thin ring, maybe it was cold, not enough sunshine, no water, all that kind of thing. And you can plot it back, and then you get an old tree, and you find an old log, and you match up those lines with the lines on this one, and you go back, and it's perfect trail. What could possibly go wrong? It doesn't work. This is the problem. When Livy did it, first of all, he used what's called bristlecone trees. These pine trees, basically, up in northwest America, because they go back, 3,000-4,000 years, or maybe older. So you got this long time scale. Because the problem was, where they're most interested in looking, like Egypt, they didn't have any trees that were that old. Same with Europe, with softer woods and things. Yew trees are very ancient, but that's a slight different problem. Because all these kind of soft woods, like yew and things like that, have a go. Get a piece of yew and see if you can count the rings. They're pretty much invisible. It's almost impossible. The other problem is that you don't get one ring per year. I know. Life sucks sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes it's a great idea, and they've all done very well out this idea. But again, you find some trees produce two, some years there's none at all. Some trees consistently produce one. It's a disaster, right? And the other problem is, just because you can see... I think you can see relative differences in tree rings right up in northwest Pacific. Who's to say the weather was the same in, say, the Middle East or something? So again, same thing happens with dendrochronology. You end up with bits of trees and graphs and bits missing. I think there's some graphs. There are some tables in here where you can see them. It's not a continuous line. It's nothing like this thing you see on the screen there. Why does it keep going back to the beginning every time I press that? It's really annoying. Hang on. Where's he gone? Yeah, there is no this lovely curve. This doesn't exist. Doesn't happen in any practical observations. Anyway, long way around to say this is 2021. Okay. Hope you can see that nice and clearly. This is a sort of up to date, looking at how chronology's done and everything, and. The first headline you might say is Ages Still in Chaos, Part 4. I have to say they have dragged this out a bit. But this is now, alright? And this whole first article is all about, well, the first couple of articles, is all about, so you can see this, what happens in these journals, say scientific dating procedures, okay? So you think, well, how can they still be arguing? This has been around since 1950s. It's all easy, slam dunk. Because they can't agree on anything. So it's page after page here of workings and all that kind of thing I love. Really. But I picked out just a couple of bits to read, okay? Just to illustrate what I'm saying, hopefully. I could read with a pair of glasses. Can you pass me some glasses, please? The ones at the back, not the round ones. You can do it, Lily. Thank you. Ooh, these are a bit different. Right, so give you an example here. Now, Professor Bailey is a bugbear because Wilson and Blackett claim that when he was doing his dendrochronology research back in the 90s, a lot of this is quite new, this stuff, he used the Battle of Camlan as a reference. You have to have reference points because you can't just plot a curve because no one knows how the rings work. No one knows. It's not a nice even curve, this C14 thing, for the reasons I've given. What you do is you try and find... Say, for example, there's a particular Ramses II document that they date to, I don't know, 1500 BC or something, and they're dead certain. And back in the day, Libby went, well, I don't know anything about history. I'll just take their word for it. And they just stuck that one in. And there's the graph. That's a point. So the more points you can stick on the graph, the more you make a curve, except it never makes a curve. The dots do all this. Because most of the dates are wrong that they agree on. And even if they were correct, the carbon readings aren't consistent. So unfortunately, it's very sad, okay? So Bailey comes in reporting Wilson and Blackett, because what they point out to him is he had the Battle of Cam Lan wrong. It should have been 30 years later than he had it down. And also, I mentioned last week, it was a comet, not a volcano. Otherwise, the whole world would have suffered this problem that only seems to have happened in Britain, Scandinavia, Ireland, and then on down to Bolivia. So it's a comet. So he accepted a lot of their findings, never credited them, and never actually moved the date. So that is one date that's still out. And I got something else here. We go right back now to the big one is the volcano of Thera, which is really important because this puts dates associated with the Exodus and Moses. All these things come back to this date, which I would say around about 1450 BC. You'll see on here, even that's far from settled, because how do you know? So on this one here, this is interesting. Experts disagreeing. We're talking about this Bailey again, right? Bailey made it clear that he considered 1200 BC, because we're looking at dates around the Exodus and these kind of things, to be a notional year, because he was unconvinced about the accuracy of dates in the ancient world obtained from historical sources. The problem they have is you have historical sources and historians, and the scientists with dendrochronology, scientists with carbon dating, sedimentary dating, core sample dating. All these people all come up with completely different answers. Don't agree on anything. To give you an idea, right? If we're looking at the Thera eruption, so the Gordian tree ring chronology covers 1767 to 740, right? So 1,000-year spread. Right, so we got the Cornell team, Cornell University, they go for 1648. You got another one here goes 1566. And then you've got Queen's University Belfast is coming up with another date. And this is the bit I want to mention here. Both techniques applied a filter to remove variations in tree ring data, which might make sets of data correlate incorrectly. They can't read all these lines in that. So what you try and do is give you an idea how it works. You get a tree log, you look at the lines there on the outside of this one, and try and get them to match with, say, the inside of another one. So you would go, ooh, that's thickness 1, 1. Oh, a thick one, that's a 4, 1, 2, 3, 8. You do, and then you try and find something else with the same number pattern, but they never match. They never match. All right? Never. You just try and get them as close as you can, okay? And you end up with all these tables then of, how closely do they map and all this kind of stuff. I know this might be a bit shocking for some people who think things like carbon dating is all a done deal decided ages ago. All right, so what we have then, this is the most wonderful comment. Please listen to this, because I know it sounds a bit dull, and not the usual light-hearted fun and games, but this is really important, all right? So what this guy Monroe has said, right, you've got two different sets of data coming up. It's not a problem. Monroe's advice, we would discount the 84 result if it did not give such a strong answer in favour of the Cornell dating of Porsic. What's that about? If they don't match, we'll just chuck that one out. If it does match, we'll keep it in though, okay? Using Monroe's warning, if there is any correspondence, so if they do match a bit, between tree growth at the two sites, we would expect it to be only in the response to the more extreme weather conditions. It follows that a simple skeleton plot, blah, blah, blah. And there's loads more stuff, and the concluding remarks down here, okay? So all these things are reliant on certain agreed dates. Right, so let's read this. If you don't mind me just reading this a little bit. It is evident that in 2009, so not that long ago, there was still an apparently unbridgeable gulf between those who considered that calibrated radiocarbon dating had established a chronology for the second millennium BC in Egypt and a Mediterranean region that was significantly higher than a conventional chronology, and those who, whilst noting the general consistency of the calibrated radiocarbon dates of the period, maintained they were wrong, perhaps because of problems with the underlying dendrochronologies, the evidence of which had never been properly presented. And it goes on and on and on. Further need for revision. All dates are based on the accession of Thutmose III in 1479. Wilson and Blackett show he wasn't even called Thutmose, and he wasn't that date, and he wasn't the third. So some radiocarbon puts it forward 100 years, other dating puts it back 100 years, and sometimes it's thousands of years difference. And I just really wanted to say this for ages to make this point. When people just throw back in your face saying it's radiocarbon dating, you know, it's the gold seal or whatever, it isn't. All right? Same with dendrochronology. Right, okay, Andrew Wilson has come up with the only way to get an accurate date is to work from a recorded astronomical event. That's interesting. See, that is the kind of dating that these Russian boys very much like to do. It's not quite that simple with that either, unfortunately. But the theory is, and actually, funny enough, the next article in this quarterly gripping event is doing just that. You can see these tables. It's not going to be an awful lot without the explanation behind it. But what they're talking about is eclipses and certain moons being seen at certain times and things like that. So that's a chance. So this is why they revised. This is why the Russians are trying to change chronology based on that. Right. Okay. Kevin Walsh, William Lyne's unpublished paper on Jed Pillarstone in New Mexico. Say the people escaped the island of Saratoni. Oh, I wonder what year that is for that. Yeah, so Andrew... Oh, hang on. Down a bit again. Andrew Wilson, wasn't it?
There's other one.
Yeah, so Herodotus disbelieved Greek historical dates and scoffed at the Hebrew dates as being invented by a rabbi. Yeah, sadly, the Greek dates seem to have been invented to make their history seem much older. And so we get back to all these discussions then about when was Troy and all this kind of stuff. I know where Andrew and I have a little bit of disagreement and is them, or different views, is dates of things like Troy and how they can be worked out. So then you got looking through historical records. Even the solar stuff is is difficult. So for example, I think you might have heard this before. One of the problems with dating things like Stonehenge and these other British sites we're trying to work out, Alexander Thom looks at the stones and tries to line them up with hills and vantage points, and from that you can work out certain astronomical events. What Andrew's referring to, I think, forgive me if it's something slightly different, is that if you can record certain events like eclipses or like the birth of Jesus is a good one. If you look at Kepler's calculations, you can see when these stars formed together over the point. And that was one of the ways of calculating. I think he came up with 7 BC for the birth of when the stars are in the right place. So you can try for that kind of thing. But, and it's a big but, you have to bear in mind, again, if you come into catastrophism, has the Earth been jolted around? Do we have this clockwork universe, as it's called, the Newton thing, where everything just goes round and round and round and round in a perfect thing? Or do we have something more like Velikovsky describes, where comets and loose planets are floating around, the Earth gets jolted? So, for example, all the churches before what we think was the comet at 562 are slightly off the east-west axis by 1 degree or so. And my good friend there, John Pitcher, he's been doing some very detailed work on trying to get those alignments worked out. And I did supposed to speak to him this week. I do apologise. We're going to speak next week. My week ran away. But the point is then, when they were rebuilding St. Paul's Cathedral, which was rebuilt after the Great Fire, 1666, they had a big decision to make, a lot of discussion. Do they build it the perfect east-west like I think they should? Or do they go slightly off to match the existing site? So the question is, why is that a degree out? You know, why is the axis seem to have moved? So even if you're looking at the stars, it's all relative to where we are. So if I say there's a star right here on a certain date, well, what if the world was there? You know, so it's very, very difficult. And the usual response I get from people when you go through all this is to say, well, what do you use then? Or, you know, It's like, well, if you don't know, you don't know. You have to accept sometimes, I think, in this amazing universe that we live in, we don't always know, all right? So I'm not here just to give the answers. I'm just here to say what questions aren't being answered sometimes. That was a bit heavy, wasn't it? Right, let's have something completely different. Am I off alignment to David Church? Yes. All churches are out, David. Very good. Don't let me forget David's thing, all right? All right. Let's look at that. The wonderful, the most excellent, the fantastic, the marvellous. Tiddly-dee. Right, hang on, I check the buttons now. Leon, can you move that out of the way, please? Just make sure you can see him. Yes, you can. Right. Oh, hang on, let's go back to the beginning. So I did that for the caption on the beginning. That's Mr. Baron Blackett. There he is at home. A year ago, less than a year ago.
Alright, so we got St. Patrick's Rock is coming out. So tell me something about how you put the music together and the manuscripts, and is it called Penillion?
Well, basically, St. Patrick's Rock is an interesting combination of music derived from the old Britain bardic music sheets around the period of St. Patrick, Constantine of Rome, and King Keralik at that time. It's basically a compilation of the music with the Penillion, the counter, which is now known as a counter melody, in the tracks, particularly in the first track and the final track of the first album.
Right. So this is back to like the 5th, 6th century. They were already doing counter melodies and stuff. Yeah.
Counter melodies, very, very clever. These very ancient bardic musicians, actually, very underestimated, very cultured as well. And they used to entertain the nobility, the kings, princes, even the saints at that time, at that period. So it would be appropriate to associate it with St. Patrick himself, who did have dealings with them, all the nobility at the time, including the High King of Ireland, King Niall, the High Kings of the Britons, and above all, Constantine the Great, the Emperor of Rome.
Right. The music they're listening to is a lot more sophisticated.
So what we decided to do was make a compilation album derived from them tunes, chords, melodies, harmonies, rhythm and form, basically from the bardic music sheet, develop it with modern lyrics and modern arrangements. For example, it wouldn't be practical to go on for 7 minutes on one track. The final track of the album is Crystal Fire and Blues. And we call it Crystal Fire and Blues, a modern language. But originally that track went on for about 17 minutes.
Wow.
And the music sheets, sitting there entertaining the old king and his court. Yeah. Imagine the probably a pig spinning around on a spit roast. as literally as it is, you know.
Do you think it had a spiritual significance or just entertainment? What would be your view on that?
I think it was basically entertainment. Not much difference really. People in them days are today, they like entertainment, they like music, they like drinking. They like drinking their mead.
There's no TV or anything?
The old bitters, the old booze. And of course they had raw whiskey. I think a bourbon, which is similar to Jack Daniels.
Yeah, the old Welsh whiskey disappeared, didn't it?
It hasn't changed much actually to these Jack Daniels. So people haven't changed dramatically in all this time.
Yeah, some
entertainment, good food, music, and jesters in the court.
Yeah, do you think maybe dancing for this music? Has it got a dance element?
Yes, they did dancing, had jesters, court jesters a lot. In fact, it was probably in some ways better than it is now in some respects. So we've got a compilation album, St. Patrick's Rock, which has been electronically modified because when I was in a rock band,
the Gibson guitars and everything, fantastic.
It's been electronically modified in 2018, recently, and we've made a compilation of the particular tracks which is pertinent to the bardic music sheets, which we still possess.
Alright, I'll try to get a picture of the bardic sheets at some point. I'll put the album up for sale on the website. We'll get that sorted.
It's basically a compilation album, spiritual album, for a reassessment of a true religion, St. Patrick.
Oh, how do you mean assessment of the religion? Well,
It's a new assessment of a true old religion, Christianity.
yeah, yeah.
Which I think it's a good time for that at the moment.
Yeah, it ties in with the book we got coming out then, hopefully your
There's
St.
been
Patrick
so many
books in as well.
problems with other religions and in the world, as we all know. This might be a good sort of invigorating tonic for the Christians.
Get back to the original message.
Invigorating tonic to get back to true religion, away from all this other terrorism and
Yeah.
hell that's going on in the world
So the
today.
good side of religion, yeah. Nice, very commendable.
Instead of,
Alright, well I've got the music, I'll stick some of it on and people can have a listen. I think
well,
it's
the best thing to
fantastic.
do is to put the first 40 seconds of Elvis on and not no more. And maybe Crystal Fair and Blues,
Okay.
when I was walking through the park in New York.
Well, I can put some clips up from the
I was
tracks.
walking through
and
the
then,
park in New York, coming out the west side of Central Park, where all the carts and horses are, to take tourists for a ride.
Yeah.
I made a slight bend, and all of a sudden, Times Square lit up. I was walking down the street. It was the twilight zone, more or less. It must have been in the evening. It was getting dark, and I thought Crystal Fair and Blues. As you walk on the corner, and it's hit you in the face. All the lights at Times Square.
Fantastic.
And I said, well, what are you going to call this track? And it was called Crystal Fire and Blues. If you could you imagine walking through past the main entrance through the Central Park?
Yes, it's all dark and quite old fashioned and suddenly
Because the horse was silly bloody feathers on their heads, some of them had still old fashioned chariots. And I walked up near 5th Avenue, made a slight right turn, and all of a sudden you see Times Square.
different world.
From the park.
Beautiful, yes.
And like Crystal Fair and Blues. So that is close to St. Patrick's Cathedral, actually, next to Rockefeller Plaza.
Oh, well, that's significant as well, isn't it?
The significance of it's a splendid palace.
So that comes into your new book as well, isn't it? The St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York.
St. Patrick Identified
Yeah.
is a book which is not just a book, it's a way of life. It's a spiritual new beginning in the world of chaos and discord. It's a new religion coming back.
Fantastic.
And me being exactly, just so happens scientifically, my DNA is exactly the same as St. Patrick's. I can prove St. Patrick's mother from Ireland. I could prove his father is an Old Britain, Roman Old Britain.
Yeah.
My father is an old Northumbrian, which is a similar vein. My mother is pure Republic of Ireland. Put the same in the pot. Even if it's thousands of years later, it's the same chemistry.
Well, the same sort of mix, aren't you? Yeah.
If you look at these old scriptures, St. Patrick's he had dozy hair, which is like brownish, blondish, blade brownish, marble blue eyes, marble blue in particular. In fact, Constantine once, it's written down, and he once complimented him with a friendly gesture. You have eyes reminiscent of my noble columns, marble columns.
Right.
Reminiscent of, similar to. So you had particularly St. Patrick was referring to. St. Patrick, so it's ironic that I've also got marble blue eyes.
Yeah.
It just so happens.
Well, I see some of the pictures.
Probably just a bloody coincidence,
I've
actually.
seen some of the pictures from your pop
It makes
days
no
as well. Good looking
difference
lad.
to me, one way or the other. I'm just going by science and facts and figures.
Yeah.
The size of St. Patrick, light middleweight. Guess was a light middleweight, no prizes for guessing.
Do you want a good idea what he looked like? He's a bit like you.
Roughly, yeah, would have been roughly.
You could probably sing and play a Gibson guitar as well.
Well, it wasn't Brenton then, actually. The Gibson guitar. But I know what you mean.
A bit of fun, that's what I mean, isn't it?
Okie doke.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
There you go. Very, very, very rare interview with the unbelievably shy Baron, and we got so well. It was such a laugh. He's good fun, and I know I try to go through a tough time, as you know, and thank you for all those messages again. Thank you very much. I put out requests during the week. It was actually last week. Missed his birthday by a bit. It won't matter. He keeps it very quiet. And loads and loads and loads of people sent me emails and messages on Facebook and all that, wishing the wonderful Mr. Blackett a happy birthday and just telling him how much we thought of him and how many fans he's got out there. And that's gone over to him, so I'm sure you'll love receiving that. Bank holiday post, I think you might not get till Tuesday. I'm hoping he got it yesterday, but I haven't spoken to him the last couple of days, so find out. I can see all their Boys in the Black stuff jokes. I always thought Northerners sounded more like the Welsh and Scots in terms of accent. Geordie and Welsh is a bit similar, I have to say. Right, thank you, Andrew Wilson, as well. He's going to have a little look at his timing again. Yeah, it is difficult, isn't it? It is difficult, but it's good he's staying open-minded. We can't dig our heels in too deep. That's the secret. What else did I see? Yeah, more about the technical side of how he produced it. That's the young gentleman who's putting together some videos and filming, so look out for that. Right. Banishing the snakes is a metaphor for destroying Druidism. Well, if not Druidism, some sort of old religion. The snakes thing is becoming up more and more because this seems to be... I know I get a bit nervous with subjects like that because it seems the whole, even Anisthenes, the island, if you look at it from the headland, does look like a snake's head, and we keep finding snakes seems to be a crucial part of it. And the snake references in the Bible. I mentioned before, I think someone, if you've got time, should look into Conan stories. He's up against the snake cult, and he's named after the old Welsh king Conan, or Conan. And he's a Cimmerian, which is like a Cymry. He goes to Hyperborea, which is the north of Europe. The whole thing's pretty weird. And it all seems to come around to snakes. And, that reminds me, Dixie, thank you very much, put up... hang on, I wonder if I can... I'll try and find it quickly and try and multitask and see if I can find it while I'm talking. Because there's a Saint Gunnedah. But the interesting thing is that Gunnedah is actually ancient snake. And I've got a theory, which is... there we go. Anyway, I've just searched for Gunnedah just to show you the spelling of it and everything, okay? Now, if you look here, we got NIDR, Nider, which if you get your copy of Cymroglyphics, which you might already have, hopefully, you'll see in here that's the old word for snake. And Tim Lewis, who's better on words than I am, is on the gut. Could be the abbreviation of key, I think, to show the great snake. So, for example, up near where we're finding the old Babylonian star map, which we are going to get back to, Steve Willits has done loads of progress and trying to get hold of Bob Bevans. There's a church there called Llan Gunnedah, Church of the Snake, which is a little bit weird. So who is this guy Gunnedah, really? He just happens to be called something snake. So it gets a bit weird, that kind of subject. And Patrick getting rid of the snakes. You got the mounds with what looks like a snake going up them. So there we go. And there's one other question I had on here. Someone else made a good comment, which I saw when I was looking, when Baron was speaking. Oh, yeah, Penithlion, that was it. Yeah, you're right. You're right, that is the type of music he's describing. And I saw someone comment on there that they know more about that. If they could, please let me know. Or if they want to come on and talk about it, that'd be great. And another thing, just to finish, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. Bit of a random show. I can't believe... I thought it was about 6 o'clock and I was just happily reading my Chronology and Catastrophism Quarterly, or whenever it comes out. And just happily enjoying that. I've been reading my... what a weird weekend. I know how to have a good time, don't I? I was also reading my... book by the about early Welsh Christianity. I would never have guessed this a while back. Right, I'm just going to find David's picture. Now, next weekend, I also do need to make a plug, and I don't have the thing to plug it. But please, Megalithomania next weekend. I am speaking, and I am also showing some footage from Alan Wilson, which... Oh, I've got the email again, I don't believe this. I'm showing some footage from Alan Wilson for Megalithomania. I am hoping to go up there again before next weekend and see him, but it doesn't look very likely at the moment, sadly, due to all these restrictions and everything. But anyway, let's fingers crossed. So I just want to show this wonderful thing David's done. Look at this. Oh, I know, I did it on the presentation. Boom, boom, boom. We're finally going to use the presentation, which I haven't used all the way through. Hooray, 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 hooray. I get to use it. I did put one together. Come on. Right, there we go. Well done, me. So look at this. This is awesome. And he's also decorated the map here with a load of medieval stuff. And the reason I mention this now, particularly at the end of the show, is one, well done, David. It's absolutely brilliant. And I'll talk about it a little bit. And the other one is, please, 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 don't leave it all up to me. It's a group effort. If you want to make a video like David is going to do, make a video talking about this and explaining it, fantastic. Send it in. I'm happy to share. This is a group project, all right? If you got pictures to share, anything like that, please send them through, particularly videos. I can just put them straight up on their own or part of the Sunday evening, okay? So I've also got other things which we're out of time, unfortunately. So thank you very much. I haven't forgotten the pictures I was sent about Nash Point, Castle Ridges. You'll have to go up next week. But I'm also going to... someone got in touch with me called Dave. I don't give his full name just yet. And he's taking me out to Cardiff Docks in the next few weeks. It all depends on low tides. And we're going to try and look for the old stone harbour. The old stone harbour in Cardiff, bottom of Portmanmore Road, which means Great Stone Harbour. As you can see it at low tide, apparently. And it's known to be there. You would think someone from the Cardiff University Archaeological Department or someone would go out. I mean, it's just only just off the shore. You know, it was a dock, and it's massive, and it's probably 6th century. I mean, how cool would that be? A massive stone harbour from the 6th century. Who said it's Roman? Anyway, so what David has done here, what you can see is, he'll talk through it much better than I can, the blue markers, because David was in the NATO forces, so the good guys, or our guys, are blue, and the opposition are red. So I'll just read out a little bit he sent me here. The battle marked out as per Arturius Rex discovered. Ronhaboy's dream for the Mabinogi and the local farmers' intelligence. Arthur's boyos are blue and their march route in green. Now, just to give you some perspective, the chainmail at the top represents more or less the coastline. There's another map in a second. You can see the coastline a bit easier. This is dramatic here because the calipers, see the bronze calipers top right, the distance between the 2 points represents 6 miles, and Wilson and Blackett say this is how they worked out distances. So 6 miles, I think, is a day's march in reasonably. And then there's a small calipers somewhere. Why can't I see the small calipers? That's in the other picture. They represent 1 mile, and this is all genuine kit. This is the expensive stuff. The chainmail at the top of the screen is the handmade chainmail, which David's got from somewhere. And down the bottom, you got the factory-produced stuff, which looks a little bit different. Apparently, that's cheaper. And that mace, David was telling me about it. That's a nasty, nasty thing. Points and weight, and for smashing people's heads in. Yuck, yuck. This is where I get a bit squeamish, okay? And there's loads of little... Have a look at this picture, because there's lots of little bits and pieces he's hidden. Or not hidden, but have meanings. Oh, no, there's the pictures. They're Dave Ringwood's pictures. All right, okay. I did put them on here. I don't know what I got there. All right, okay. So I'll just talk about this quickly. So Arthur's boyos are blue. Their march route in green. Cunnan Garwin, CW, in a blue square on the map. So you can't see the names. All the yellow markers. Now we're going to zoom in. I could probably zoom in on the other picture. And we'll go through it in more detail, hopefully before next week, or David is going to make it. So the point is, yeah, you got the main force coming through, and then his blocking forces stopping the enemy from escaping. So Arthur is said to have been within a mile of the Owenny Ogmore Ford, which I think is shown by a yellow marker on there, where the young Pickett's Guard horse excitedly splashes Arthur, maybe spending the night at the chapel by Merthyr Mawr, and instructing his sappers to build a cross. The tents of his army stretch to the coast. The ford is mentioned twice by Allen, once as being near Ogmore Castle, the other is at Owenny Cross, hence the 2 yellow panels. The yellow panels indicate named places related to the battle still extant, like Ford of the Gyfraith, which is the route to the tumult, and or mentioned by Allen in Arturius Rex discovered. Orange marks the main battle area on the Maes Cadlawr, place of the battlefield. I haven't included any minor skirmishes so the map doesn't become too full and confusing. This is just a picture he's taken with his camera and his better ones that come along, and it's absolutely brilliant. And he's got a military mind and he understands tactics and it's fantastic. So look out for that either next week's show or before then. But don't forget, Megalithomania, the 1 year special, Lee Penton is a busy week. This is an email received from Dave. I hope all is well, enjoying the videos, great work. This morning I managed to pop to Nash Point and he measured the mound. Because another thing I want to do is go down there and do a proper survey. And I've got people lined up to help with that, who I will name afterwards. I'm not sure if they want to be named just yet. We're going to take out the proper kit and measure it all. So he's saying how big they are, as you can see here. So it's approximately, using his size, 11 feet. It's approximately 65 feet across. Length I would call that. And the width is 14 to 15 feet. And the rise, the height of the bank's about 3 feet. I'm not sure how big these burial mounds are normally, but something quite large must have been put there. And there's another photo from the mid-1970s. And if you look at the top, you can see castle ditches. In the background, the sea. And what looks to me like the outline of a castle up there, if you can see my mouse. Which unfortunately more of that is falling into the sea now. And disappearing before we get a chance to do. No one's going to survey it. No one's going to do archaeology. It's going to fall into the sea. So in my mind, the site can't even be harmed because it's not going to be there much longer. So we're going to do our best to try and make as much a record as possible. The burial mound, hang on, there's the estuary. So the burial mound's around about here somewhere, I think. Up on this side of the hill. Oh, hang on, no. Here, sorry. Oh, hang on, go back up, please. There, look. You can see a boat shape there. Unfortunately, it's a lot different today. All this is being cut, but in fairness, they do cut around it. They don't seem to ploughing it out. So if you come in here, you'll come around this road now, you'll see a snack bar with that little... There's a hut there, but it's a proper cafe now. Down this end is a car park, and here is the boat-shaped mound. Very useful photograph. Thank you very much. So I love receiving things like that. Always delighted. Right, I'm going to go and rescue my oldest son. We seem to have lost third son, the musician. You going to sing us a song or something? What are you going to do, Leon? How are you going to play us out?
I can't really.
Improvise, son. Improvise. No, not going to happen, is it? Right. If I sing us out, that'll get the thing shut down quickly, won't it? Oh, right. So thank you very much, everybody. So hope you enjoyed the show. Guys, it's all going so well at the moment. It's just so happy. And thank you very much to the person out there. I'm not going to name, so they want to remain anonymous for a donation, which is coming extremely useful because we might have some professional fees to pay. So I might have the begging bowl out soon. But don't worry, nothing's going to knock us off course. And everything's cool. And get ready for next week's big, exciting, a year of doing this every Sunday. Isn't it amazing? So thank you very much, all those. I think, do you know what I reckon? I would say at least half the people who are watching tonight, are on live tonight, more than half, have been watching these since day one. So well done, everybody. Thank you very much. And a brilliant... Oh, musicians turned up. He was watching in the other room. Right then, Zavi in his rugby kit, because he doesn't wear anything else. Funny enough, it's got with... Hang on a second, Zav. Just come here a bit nearer a second. Just show people. Just... I can't see anything now because no, it's your shirt, not you, mate. I know you're a good-looking lad. Turn around a bit. I want to show the badge. The badge. And if you can see that, there's the rugby team. Look, this is where we live. Llantwit, Church of the Twit. Llan Ifdid Fawr it is in Welsh, which they bizarrely translate to Llantydd Fawr. But there you go. And if anyone, one more thing. There's one. The badge here is a dragon with 5 keys. And the dragon stands still, the dragon's mouth. It's a bit like a Welsh dragon. So if anyone has any idea what on earth that's about, I would love to know. Right, okay. So sorry if the camera works all over the place. Until the next time, thank you very much, everyone, once again for your support. 1 year down. First year's the hardest. So until next week, heddwch. Go. Yay! Bye everyone! Nostar!
Nostar!
North Star, how do I do this? Ah. Did that work? No. Try again. I'll try again. Right, till the next time. North Star, Hedwch. Do you reckon? Oh no, you can't see me this time. Oh, no. Where's that Hengist and Horther come from? If you haven't seen the Hengist and Horther video, please watch it, right? It's about English history for a change and a Welsh history, okay? Right. It shouldn't be Hengist and Horther, should it? Oh, well, you're going to get Hengist and Horther, okay? Right, we'll try last time. North Star, everyone. North Star, he, and Hedwch. Stop thinking Hengist and Horther. Right, I've got to change that quickly. This is so unprofessional. See, Arnie's going to say it's all down to him, look, because he wasn't here. The whole thing's falling apart. So I'm going to change this quickly. Yeah, watch the Hengist and Horther video if you can, yeah. I'll leave the chat on a few minutes. Come on. Oh, thanks a lot, Zoe. You ready for bed, are you? There you go. Hey, there we are. What a pro. Alright. Bye-bye. Thank you, Zev. Okay, let's turn the microphones off. Thank you much, everybody. Oh, and hello, Hugh Heaven. That's why you came late. Okay. As people have a little chat about the snakes. If you want to have a chat, I will leave the chat open a little bit longer, alright? Because I'm as fascinated with this snake thing. And it sounds kind of scary and weird and all that kind of stuff. But I have no idea. Even the dragon is a kind of snake when you think about it. Serpents and snakes. But then the dragon's got the eagle's wings as well, which is the sort of the age-old fight between the snake and the eagle. Anyway, it's not something I know much about, so I'll leave you to discuss it, and I'll catch you all again. Bye!